Overcoming Procrastination, Strategies for Immediate Action, written and published by Elevate Book. The time to act is now. Procrastination is a universal struggle. Whether it manifests as delaying work, postponing personal goals, or avoiding difficult decisions, it can silently erode ambition and potential. This book is designed to provide immediate, practical, and science-backed strategies to help you overcome procrastination once and for all. The battle against procrastination is not just about time management. It is about reclaiming your power, focus, and momentum. By the time you finish this book, you will not only understand why you procrastinate but also develop a personalized action plan to stay productive, motivated, and in control. What you will learn. This book provides a comprehensive roadmap to help you break free from procrastination by covering the psychology and neuroscience behind procrastination, practical techniques to take immediate action, how to rewire your brain for discipline and consistency, overcoming fear, perfectionism, and self-doubt, using proven strategies from successful individuals, daily habits and routines that eliminate procrastination, how to build a resilient mindset for lasting change. Each chapter is filled with real-life examples, expert insights, exercises, and historical references to give you a well-rounded approach to beating procrastination. If you have ever said, "I'll do it later," this book is for you. The time for change is now. Chapter 1. Understanding Procrastination, the Hidden Enemy. Introduction. Why do we delay? Procrastination is often mistaken for laziness, but the truth is far more complex. It is not about a lack of effort. It is a deeply ingrained psychological pattern, often fueled by fear, self-doubt, or an overwhelming sense of pressure. If you have ever found yourself saying, "I'll do it later," or if you constantly delay tasks despite knowing they are important, then you are not alone. Millions of people struggle with procrastination daily. In this chapter, we will uncover the science, psychology, and hidden causes of procrastination. You will learn why you procrastinate, what happens in your brain when you delay tasks, and how to identify your personal procrastination triggers. Understanding these elements is the first step to overcoming procrastination for good. What is procrastination? At its core, procrastination is the act of delaying or postponing tasks despite knowing that doing so will likely lead to stress, negative consequences, or regret. It is not just a time management problem, it is a self-regulation issue. Psychologists define procrastination as a self-defeating behavior. Even when we know a task is important, we choose an easier, often more pleasurable activity instead. This creates a cycle of temporary relief followed by guilt and stress. Common types of procrastinators. Not all procrastination is the same. Understanding your procrastination style can help you develop targeted strategies to overcome it. The perfectionist delays tasks because they fear making mistakes or not meeting high standards. The dreamer has big ideas but struggles with execution. The avoider fears failure and puts off tasks to escape judgment. The busy procrastinator always appears busy but avoids meaningful work. The crisis maker believes they work best under pressure, waiting until the last minute to complete tasks. Which type do you relate to the most? Recognizing your procrastination style is crucial in taking control of it. The science of procrastination. What happens in your brain? Why do we procrastinate, even when we know it is bad for us? The answer lies in how our brain processes short-term rewards versus long-term benefits. 1. The battle between the limbic system and the prefrontal cortex. Your brain is in constant conflict between two opposing forces. The limbic system, the emotional brain, seeks instant gratification. The prefrontal cortex, the rational brain, plans for the future. When you face a difficult or boring task, your limbic system immediately seeks comfort, pushing you to check social media, watch TV, or do anything that provides instant pleasure. Meanwhile, your prefrontal cortex struggles to keep you focused on long-term goals. This internal battle leads to task avoidance and procrastination. 2. The role of dopamine. Procrastination is also linked to dopamine, the brain's reward chemical. Every time you avoid a task and engage in a pleasurable activity, like scrolling through your phone, your brain releases dopamine. This reinforces avoidance behavior, making procrastination even more difficult to break. 3. The procrastination reward cycle. Here's how procrastination turns into a habit. You face a difficult task. Your brain seeks relief and distracts you with a pleasurable activity. You feel temporarily better, dopamine reward. You reinforce the habit of avoiding hard tasks. The longer this cycle continues, the harder it is to break. But the good news is, you can rewire your brain to favor action over avoidance. Why do we procrastinate? There are many reasons why people procrastinate. Here are some of the most common psychological causes. 1. Fear of failure. One of the biggest drivers of procrastination is the fear of not being good enough. If you believe you will fail at something, you may subconsciously avoid it altogether. This is especially common among perfectionists who fear making mistakes. 2. The illusion of plenty of time. People often assume they have more time than they actually do. This leads to overestimating future motivation and underestimating the time required to complete a task. 3. Low energy and burnout. When your energy levels are low, your brain struggles to prioritize difficult tasks. Lack of sleep, poor diet, and stress all contribute to mental fatigue, making procrastination more likely. 4. Lack of clear goals. If you don't have a clear plan for a task, your brain perceives it as overwhelming and avoids it. Without specific steps, tasks feel daunting, leading to delay. 5. Instant gratification. We live in a world of instant entertainment and distractions. Social media, YouTube, and online shopping provide quick dopamine hits, making them far more appealing than long-term tasks. 6. Emotional avoidance. Sometimes, procrastination is an emotional coping mechanism. If a task feels stressful, boring, or anxiety-inducing, people delay it to avoid discomfort. Real-life examples of chronic procrastinators. Case Study 1. Leonardo da Vinci. Even one of history's greatest geniuses was a chronic procrastinator. Leonardo da Vinci took 16 years to complete the Mona Lisa and often left projects unfinished. His perfectionism and fear of failure led him to procrastinate. Despite his struggles, he trained himself to work in short bursts of deep focus, a technique we will explore in later chapters. Case Study 2. Victor Hugo. The famous writer Victor Hugo was notorious for procrastinating on his books. To force himself to write, he devised a radical strategy. He locked away his clothes so he couldn't leave the house until he finished his work. His book, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, was written under this self-imposed restriction. Case Study 3. Students and last-minute cramming. Studies show that 95% of college students admit to procrastinating. Many rely on last-minute cramming, which creates intense stress and reduces learning retention. However, those who use structured study schedules perform better and experience less anxiety. How to identify your procrastination triggers. Before you can overcome procrastination, you must recognize when and why it happens. Take a moment to reflect on the following questions. What types of tasks do I tend to put off the most? What emotions do I feel when I procrastinate? What are my most common distractions? What excuses do I tell myself when I delay work? By answering these questions, you can start developing personalized strategies to eliminate procrastination. Conclusion. The first step to change. Procrastination is not a sign of laziness. It is a psychological pattern that can be rewired and replaced with productive habits. By understanding why you procrastinate and what happens in your brain, you are already taking the first step toward change. In the next chapter, we will explore how to rewire your brain for action, using neuroscience-backed techniques to train yourself to take immediate action instead of delaying tasks. The first step to breaking procrastination is awareness. Now, let's take action. Chapter 2. The Neuroscience of Action, Rewiring Your Brain for Success. Introduction. The brain's resistance to action. If you have ever wondered why some people seem naturally driven while others struggle with motivation and procrastination, the answer lies in neuroscience. The brain is designed to conserve energy, avoid discomfort, and seek immediate rewards. This evolutionary mechanism, while useful in survival situations, often works against us in modern life. Procrastination is not just a bad habit. It is a neurological loop reinforced by brain chemistry. The good news? You can rewire your brain to favor action over delay. By understanding how your brain functions, you can implement practical strategies to train yourself to take immediate action, build discipline, and sustain motivation. In this chapter, we will explore the brain's internal battle between action and procrastination, how to hack dopamine for motivation, the science of habit formation and neuroplasticity, proven brain training techniques to make action automatic, the brain's tug-of-war, procrastination versus action. Your brain is in constant conflict when it comes to taking action. This battle occurs between two key areas. The limbic system, the emotional brain, responsible for instant gratification and avoiding discomfort, wants pleasure now and pain later. This is why you instinctively scroll through social media instead of working on an important project. The prefrontal cortex, the rational brain, responsible for decision-making, self-control, and long-term planning, tries to keep you focused, disciplined, and goal-oriented. This is the part of your brain that knows you should work, but often loses the battle to the limbic system. When you procrastinate, your limbic system overpowers your prefrontal cortex, pushing you to delay tasks and seek distractions. Understanding this internal struggle is the first step toward taking control. Dopamine, the key to motivation and action. What is dopamine? Dopamine is a neurotransmitter that drives motivation, pleasure, and reward. Every time you achieve something, even small, your brain releases dopamine, reinforcing that behavior. How dopamine fuels procrastination. Procrastination is addictive because it provides short-term dopamine rewards. When you delay work and do something enjoyable instead, watch TV, browse social media, play games, your brain releases dopamine. This tricks you into feeling good, reinforcing procrastination as a habit. How to hack dopamine for productivity. To break the procrastination cycle, you need to train your brain to get dopamine from productive actions. Here's how. Use the small wins strategy. Your brain releases dopamine when you accomplish a goal. Break large tasks into smaller, manageable steps. Each completed step triggers a dopamine release, keeping you motivated. Celebrate progress, not just the final outcome. Reward yourself for effort, not just results. Example: if you write 500 words of an essay, acknowledge the progress instead of waiting until the essay is finished. Pair work with dopamine triggers. Listen to music while working. Use a timer, Pomodoro technique, and allow a short break as a reward. Associate positive emotions with work instead of viewing it as a burden. Delay gratification, temptation bundling. Combine a pleasurable activity with work. Example: only watch your favorite show after completing a work session. When you train your brain to release dopamine from productivity instead of distractions, procrastination naturally fades. Neuroplasticity, how to rewire your brain for action. What is neuroplasticity? Neuroplasticity is your brain's ability to restructure itself based on behavior and experience. This means that every time you take action instead of procrastinating, you strengthen neural pathways that make action more automatic. The habit loop, how actions become automatic. All behaviors follow a three-step loop in your brain. Cue, trigger, the event that initiates the habit. Example: seeing an email notification. Routine, action, the habitual response to the cue. Example: checking email instead of working. Reward, dopamine release, the pleasure or relief you feel after completing the action. Example: feeling temporarily relaxed after procrastinating. How to rewire your habit loop for productivity. To overcome procrastination, you must intentionally change this loop. Identify the cue. What triggers your procrastination? Boredom, stress, fear? Example: if you procrastinate because a task feels overwhelming, recognize that emotion. Replace the routine. Instead of avoiding the task, start with a small step. Example: if writing feels overwhelming, begin with one sentence. Reinforce the reward. Train your brain to enjoy small wins. Example: use progress tracking to see achievements visually. Habit tracker, checklist. By repeatedly following this new habit loop, taking action becomes second nature. Proven techniques to train your brain for immediate action. 1. The 5-second rule. Mel Robbins. Count down from 5 to 1, then immediately take action. This prevents the limbic system from taking over. Used by thousands of people to interrupt procrastination and start immediately. 2. The 2-minute rule. James Clear. If a task takes less than 2 minutes, do it immediately. Example: responding to an email, making a quick phone call. This builds a bias for action. 3. The start ugly method. Perfectionism causes procrastination. Instead of aiming for perfect work, just start with anything. Example: write a messy first draft, then refine it later. 4. Make it ridiculously easy. Reduce task resistance by making it so easy that it feels effortless. Example: instead of exercise for an hour, start with 5 minutes. Once started, momentum takes over. 5. The commitment device strategy. Create external accountability to force yourself into action. Examples: tell a friend about your goal and ask them to check in. Set up automatic consequences. Pay money if you fail. Real-life examples of people who rewired their brain for action. Example 1. Tim Ferriss and the fear-setting method. Tim Ferriss, best-selling author of The 4-Hour Workweek, overcame procrastination by visualizing the worst-case scenario. Instead of fearing failure, he wrote down his biggest fears and solutions. This method allowed him to take bold actions and achieve massive success. Example 2. Thomas Edison's rapid experimentation. Edison didn't wait for perfect conditions to start inventing. He believed in quick experimentation and immediate action. His motto: I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. His success came from starting before feeling ready. Example 3. Elon Musk's first principles thinking. Elon Musk trains his brain to take action by breaking complex tasks into fundamental principles. Instead of saying, "This is impossible," he asks, "What needs to happen first?" This mindset shift prevents procrastination and builds rapid execution. Conclusion: take control of your brain. Your brain can be rewired to favor action over procrastination. By understanding the neuroscience of motivation, dopamine, and habit formation, you can train yourself to act immediately and consistently. In the next chapter, we will explore the psychological reasons behind procrastination and how to break deep-seated mental barriers that hold you back. Your brain is changeable. The time to rewire it for success is now. Chapter 3. The Psychology of Procrastination, Breaking Mental Barriers. Introduction. Why we delay even when we know better. You set a goal. You promise yourself that today will be different. You sit down to start, and suddenly, an invisible force holds you back. Instead of working, you find yourself scrolling through your phone, watching YouTube videos, or reorganizing your desk. Hours pass, and guilt sets in. Why do we procrastinate even when we know it will hurt us in the long run? The answer lies deep within our psychology. Procrastination is not just about laziness or poor time management. It is a battle of self-doubt, fear, perfectionism, and mental resistance. If we do not address the root psychological causes of procrastination, no amount of productivity hacks will create lasting change. In this chapter, we will explore the hidden psychological reasons behind procrastination, how fear, self-doubt, and perfectionism fuel avoidance, cognitive behavioral techniques to break mental barriers, how to reprogram your self-image to take consistent action. Why do we procrastinate? Most people think procrastination happens because they are lazy or unmotivated. In reality, procrastination is often a coping mechanism to avoid difficult emotions like fear, anxiety, or self-doubt. The 3 core psychological reasons for procrastination. Fear of failure. You avoid tasks because you fear making mistakes or being judged. Example: you delay working on a project because you worry it will not be good enough. Perfectionism. You set unrealistically high standards, leading to overwhelm and inaction. Example: you never start writing an article because you want it to be perfect from the beginning. Emotional avoidance. You put off tasks that feel stressful, boring, or unpleasant. Example: you delay filing taxes because it feels tedious and overwhelming. When we avoid discomfort, we feel temporary relief, but at a long-term cost. The key to overcoming procrastination is learning how to face discomfort, take imperfect action, and build emotional resilience. The procrastination fear connection. 1. Fear of failure, the root of inaction. Many people procrastinate because they subconsciously believe, if I don't try, I can't fail. If I delay, I won't have to face judgment. I'd rather not start than risk doing poorly. This is known as self-handicapping, deliberately sabotaging your own progress to protect your ego. How to overcome fear of failure. Reframe failure as learning. View mistakes as feedback, not judgment. Example. Instead of saying, I failed, say, I learned what doesn't work. Use the worst-case scenario exercise. Ask yourself, what is the absolute worst thing that could happen? In most cases, the worst outcome is not life-threatening. It's just uncomfortable. Adopt the action over perfection mindset. Shift from, I need to be perfect, to I need to make progress. Example. If you want to start a YouTube channel, record a rough first video instead of waiting for the perfect setup. The perfectionism trap. How perfectionism leads to procrastination. Perfectionists often think, if I can't do it perfectly, I won't do it at all. This leads to paralysis. They delay starting because they fear not meeting their high standards. How to overcome perfectionism. Start before you feel ready. Action creates clarity. You will never feel 100% ready. Example. Start writing a rough draft instead of waiting for the perfect idea. Set good enough goals. Instead of aiming for perfection, aim for completion. Example. Instead of saying, I need to write the perfect book, say, I will write 1 page today. Embrace the 80% rule. If something is 80% good, ship it. Example. If you are launching a business, don't wait for a perfect website. Start with a simple landing page. The role of self-identity in procrastination. Your actions are shaped by your self-image. If you see yourself as someone who struggles with procrastination, you will continue to act that way. How to change your identity. Use I am statements. Example. Instead of saying, I am a procrastinator, say, I am the type of person who takes action immediately. Visualize your future self. Imagine the version of you who gets things done effortlessly. What habits do they have? How do they think? Make small identity shifts. Example. If you want to be a writer, don't say, I will write a book someday. Say, I am a writer, so I write every day. Cognitive behavioral techniques to overcome procrastination. 1. The cognitive reframing technique. Reframing helps you shift your mindset from avoiding pain to seeking growth. Before reframing, procrastination mindset. This task is too hard. I'll never do this perfectly. I don't feel motivated right now. After reframing, action mindset. This task will challenge me and help me grow. I don't need to be perfect, just consistent. Motivation follows action, not the other way around. 2. The implementation intentions technique. Instead of vague goals, set specific if-then plans. Example. Instead of saying, I'll start working out soon, say, if it's Monday at 7 a.m., then I will go to the gym. 3. The time travel technique. Imagine future you dealing with the consequences of procrastination. Example. What will I feel like in 1 week if I don't start today? This method forces your brain to connect present actions to future consequences. Breaking mental resistance. How to make tasks feel easier. 1. The 5-minute start trick. Tell yourself you only have to work for 5 minutes. Once you start, your brain naturally wants to continue. Zeigarnik effect. 2. The make it fun strategy. Attach an enjoyable element to a boring task. Example. Work in a cafe, listen to upbeat music, or set up a friendly competition with a friend. 3. The reduce decision fatigue method. Too many choices create mental overload. Example. If you struggle with writing, use pre-made templates instead of starting from scratch. Real-life examples of people who overcame procrastination. Example 1. Steve Jobs, embracing imperfection. Steve Jobs believed in rapid execution over waiting for perfect conditions. He launched Apple's first computers with flaws, knowing that perfection comes from iteration. Example 2. J.K. Rowling, overcoming fear of rejection. Rowling was rejected 12 times before Harry Potter was published. She wrote daily despite self-doubt and took action before feeling ready. Example 3. Thomas Jefferson, the power of identity. Jefferson saw himself as a lifelong learner, which made taking action second nature. He developed small daily habits to reinforce this identity. Conclusion. Reprogram your mind for action. Procrastination is not about laziness. It is about psychology. By shifting your mindset, reframing failure, and creating new identity beliefs, you can break free from procrastination for good. Taking action is a skill. Train it daily. In the next chapter, we will explore the power of small wins, building momentum, where you will learn how to use micro-successes to create unstoppable progress. It's time to change your self-image. You are someone who takes action. Start now. Chapter 4. The Power of Small Wins, Building Momentum. Introduction. Why starting small creates big success. Have you ever noticed how some people seem to effortlessly build habits and achieve their goals, while others struggle with inconsistency and frustration? The difference lies in understanding the power of small wins. Most people procrastinate because they set huge, overwhelming goals that feel impossible to achieve. The secret to lasting success is to start small and focus on progress, not perfection. Small actions build momentum, and momentum leads to effortless productivity. In this chapter, we will explore why starting small is the key to long-term success, how to use micro-goals to overcome procrastination, the Kaizen method for continuous improvement, real-life success stories of people who transformed their lives through small, consistent actions, why small wins matter, the science of momentum. Psychologists have discovered that when you experience a small success, your brain releases dopamine, the chemical responsible for motivation and reward. This makes you feel good and drives you to take the next step. This is why starting with tiny, achievable tasks creates an unstoppable cycle of progress. The Zeigarnik effect. Why unfinished tasks stay in your mind. The Zeigarnik effect is a psychological principle that explains why unfinished tasks create mental tension. When you start a task, your brain wants to close the loop, which naturally pushes you to continue working on it. This means that once you start small, your brain will naturally want to keep going. Example: if you tell yourself, "I'll just write one sentence," your brain will likely push you to write more. If you say, "I'll just do 5 minutes of exercise," you'll often find yourself doing a full workout. The power of micro-goals. How to trick your brain into action. What are micro-goals? Micro-goals are tiny, manageable steps that feel so easy that you can't resist starting. Examples: instead of write a book, set the goal to write 1 paragraph. Instead of exercise for an hour, commit to do 1 push-up. Instead of read 50 pages, aim for read 1 page. Why micro-goals work. They remove mental resistance and make tasks feel easy. They create quick dopamine rewards, keeping you motivated. They help you build a habit of showing up consistently. Key principle. It's more important to do a tiny action every day than to do a huge action once and quit. The Kaizen method. Small daily improvements lead to big change. What is Kaizen? Kaizen is a Japanese philosophy of continuous improvement. Instead of making huge, sudden changes, Kaizen focuses on making small, consistent progress every day. How to use Kaizen to overcome procrastination. Step 1. Identify the smallest possible improvement. Instead of wake up at 5 a.m., start by waking up 5 minutes earlier each day. Instead of completely change my diet, begin by adding 1 healthy meal per day. Step 2. Focus on progress, not perfection. Success is not about huge leaps. It's about small, daily steps. Over time, small improvements compound into massive results. Example: if you improve by just 1% every day, in 1 year you will be 37 times better than you are today. Real-life success stories. How small wins create big change. 1. James Clear, The Power of Atomic Habits. James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits, transformed his life by focusing on tiny habit changes. He learned that small, consistent improvements lead to major results. His strategy: instead of saying, "I need to get in shape," he focused on simply going to the gym for 5 minutes. Once he was there, he naturally ended up staying longer and working out more. 2. Jerry Seinfeld, The Don't Break the Chain Method. Jerry Seinfeld, one of the most successful comedians of all time, built his career using a simple strategy. His rule: he committed to writing jokes every single day. He used a calendar and marked an X on each day he wrote. His only goal? Don't break the chain. Why it works. Once you build a streak of small wins, your brain wants to keep going. The longer your streak, the more motivated you feel to continue. 3. Stephen King, Writing 1,000 Words Per Day. Stephen King, one of the most prolific writers in history, doesn't rely on motivation. He relies on small, daily action. His process: he writes 1,000 words every day, no matter what. He doesn't wait for inspiration. He just starts writing. Over time, this simple habit has allowed him to publish over 60 books. Lesson: small, daily action beats inconsistent bursts of motivation. How to build momentum in your own life. 1. Use the 2-minute rule. If a task seems overwhelming, start with just 2 minutes. Instead of write a chapter, write for 2 minutes. Instead of go to the gym, do 2 minutes of stretching. Once you start, momentum will carry you forward. 2. Celebrate tiny wins. Most people only celebrate big achievements, but this is a mistake. Your brain needs rewards to stay motivated. How to do it? Keep a habit tracker. Mark off days when you take action. Use positive self-talk to acknowledge progress. Treat yourself when you complete small goals. 3. Create an action identity. Instead of saying, "I need to stop procrastinating," say, "I am someone who takes action. I am a person who follows through. I take small steps every day." Identity drives behavior. When you see yourself as an action taker, procrastination disappears. Conclusion: take small steps every day. The biggest mistake people make is thinking change happens overnight. In reality, success is built through small, daily actions that compound over time. Key takeaways: tiny wins create momentum. Small, consistent actions beat massive, inconsistent efforts. The secret to success is showing up daily, even if it's just for 2 minutes. Your challenge: start today. Pick one small action and do it now. The journey to overcoming procrastination begins with a single step. Chapter 5. Developing laser focus, eliminating distractions. Introduction. Why focus is the ultimate productivity superpower. Imagine sitting down to work, completely immersed in your task. No distractions, no mental wandering, just pure, effortless concentration. This is the power of deep focus, and it is one of the most valuable skills in today's world. Yet, in an age of constant notifications, endless social media, and digital overload, maintaining focus has become harder than ever. Research shows that the average person gets distracted every 11 minutes and takes 23 minutes to refocus. This means that most people never truly experience deep, uninterrupted work. In this chapter, you will learn how your brain processes focus and distractions, the hidden dangers of multitasking, proven techniques to train your mind for deep concentration, how to create an environment that eliminates distractions. By the end of this chapter, you will have a personalized system to eliminate distractions, sharpen your focus, and get more done in less time. Why we struggle to focus. The science of attention. The 2 types of focus. Your brain operates in 2 primary modes when it comes to attention. Focused mode. Your brain is fully engaged in a single task. Distractions are ignored. This is when you produce your best work. Diffuse mode. Your mind wanders between different thoughts. This is great for creativity, but terrible for deep work. Most people live in this state due to constant distractions. The key to mastering focus is learning how to enter focused mode on demand. The myth of multitasking. Why it destroys productivity. Many people believe that multitasking makes them more efficient. However, studies show that multitasking reduces productivity by up to 40%. Why multitasking fails. Your brain cannot actually do 2 tasks at once. It just switches between them rapidly. Every time you switch, your brain takes time to refocus, creating a cognitive lag. This constant switching leads to mental fatigue, stress, and lower quality work. Solution. To maximize focus, train yourself to work on one task at a time. How to train your brain for deep focus. 1. The 90-minute focus block. Your brain works best in 90-minute cycles, ultradian rhythm. Set a timer for 90 minutes of deep work. Take a 15-minute break before starting the next session. 2. The single tasking rule. Choose one important task at a time. Eliminate everything else until the task is completed. Example. Instead of checking emails while working on a report, batch emails separately and focus only on the report. 3. The Pomodoro technique. If 90-minute sessions feel too long, try the Pomodoro technique. Work for 25 minutes, full focus. Take a 5-minute break. Repeat the cycle 4 times, then take a longer break. This method keeps your mind fresh and engaged while preventing burnout. 4. Train your focus muscle. Just like physical exercise, focus is a skill that can be strengthened. Focus training exercises. Daily meditation, 5 to 10 minutes, helps improve attention control. Read without distractions. Train your brain to focus on a single piece of content. Do one task without switching. Resist checking your phone or multitasking. The more you practice focusing, the easier it becomes to enter deep work mode. Eliminating distractions. How to create a focus-friendly environment. 1. Remove digital distractions. Turn off notifications, email, social media, messages. Use website blockers, e.g., Freedom, Cold Turkey, to block distracting sites. Put your phone in another room while working. 2. Optimize your physical space. Keep your workspace clean and clutter-free. Use noise-canceling headphones or play instrumental music. Work in an environment that signals deep work mode, e.g., a quiet office, a library. 3. Use the distraction list method. Every time a distraction pops into your mind, write it down on a notepad. This prevents you from acting on it immediately and helps keep your focus on the task at hand. Mastering flow state. The key to effortless focus. What is flow state? Flow is a mental state where you are fully immersed in a task, losing track of time and distractions. Studies show that people in flow state are 5x more productive. How to enter flow state? Set a clear goal. Your brain needs a specific target to focus. Example: write 500 words in the next 60 minutes. Eliminate distractions. No phone, no social media, no unnecessary noise. Work at the edge of your ability. The task should be challenging but not overwhelming. Too easy equals boredom. Too hard equals frustration. Use deep breathing to stay present. If your mind starts to wander, take 3 deep breaths and refocus. With practice, you can train yourself to enter flow state consistently. Real-life examples of focus masters. 1. Bill Gates, the Think Week strategy. Bill Gates takes a 1-week retreat every year, completely free from distractions, to focus on deep thinking and innovation. Lesson: if you want to do high-quality work, you must create uninterrupted focus time. 2. J.K. Rowling writing in isolation. While finishing Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, Rowling locked herself in a hotel room to avoid distractions and enter deep work mode. Lesson: eliminate everything that pulls your attention away from important work. 3. Warren Buffett, the power of saying no. Buffett attributes his success to fierce prioritization. He rejects 99% of distractions and focuses only on the few things that truly matter. Lesson: master focus by saying no to low-value tasks. How to make deep focus a daily habit. Step 1. Designate deep work hour. Choose specific hours each day for deep work, e.g., 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Treat it as non-negotiable, just like a meeting. Step 2. Use a focus ritual. Before starting work, do a ritual to signal deep focus. Examples: brew a cup of coffee, play instrumental music, put on noise-canceling headphones. Over time, this trains your brain to enter focus mode automatically. Step 3. Track your focus progress. Use a focus journal to track how long you stay distraction-free. Aim to increase your deep focus time each week. Conclusion: reclaim your focus, reclaim your life. In today's world, focus is a superpower. By eliminating distractions, training your brain for deep concentration, and entering flow state, you can achieve extraordinary results in less time. Key takeaways: multitasking is a myth. Focus on one task at a time. Deep work leads to high performance. Train your brain to stay present. Eliminate digital and physical distractions. Your environment matters. Flow state creates effortless productivity. Learn how to enter it. Your challenge: right now, choose one distraction to eliminate and set up your first deep work session. Start small and build your focus muscle every day. Chapter 6. The Science of Motivation. How to stay consistently driven. Introduction. Why motivation fails and how to make it last. Motivation is often seen as the fuel for action. Many people believe that they need to feel motivated before they can start working on their goals. But what if this belief is actually wrong? Research shows that motivation is not the cause of action. It is often the result of taking action. People who rely on motivation alone struggle with inconsistency, burnout, and procrastination. In contrast, those who learn how to create self-sustaining motivation develop unstoppable momentum. In this chapter, you will learn the difference between short-term and long-term motivation, how to create automatic motivation without relying on willpower, the psychological triggers that fuel consistent action, the Goldilocks rule, how to make tasks engaging, not overwhelming, how to build an environment that keeps you motivated daily. By the end of this chapter, you will no longer need to wait for motivation. You will know how to generate it on demand. The two types of motivation, intrinsic versus extrinsic. There are two primary types of motivation, and understanding them is key to making it last. 1. Extrinsic motivation, external rewards, comes from external factors like money, praise, or competition. Example, studying to get a good grade, working to earn a paycheck. Problem, this type of motivation wears off quickly when the external reward is removed. 2. Intrinsic motivation, internal drive, comes from within, driven by personal interest, curiosity, or growth. Example, writing because you enjoy self-expression, learning because it excites you. Benefit, stronger and more sustainable than external motivation. Key insight, to stay consistently motivated, you must shift from external rewards to an internal sense of purpose and growth. Why motivation fails? The action precedes motivation principle. Most people believe, I need motivation first, then I will take action. But psychology shows that the real formula is, action creates motivation, which leads to more action. The motivation-action loop. Take a small action, even when you don't feel like it. Experience progress. Your brain releases dopamine. Feel motivated to continue, because progress feels rewarding. Example, you don't feel like exercising, you do just 5 minutes. Your brain releases dopamine, you feel good. Feeling good makes you want to continue, motivation grows. Lesson, if you want motivation, don't wait, just start small. It will follow. How to create long-lasting motivation. 1. The Goldilocks rule, the key to staying engaged. People are most motivated when a task is not too easy, boring, not too hard, overwhelming, but just challenging enough to stay engaging. How to apply it. If a task feels too easy, add a challenge, e.g., set a time limit. If a task feels too hard, break it into smaller steps. 2. Make your goals visually rewarding. Your brain loves instant feedback. Seeing progress keeps you engaged and motivated. Practical strategies. Habit trackers. Mark an X for every day you take action. Progress bars. Visually track how far you've come. Daily reflection. Write down small wins to reinforce progress. Why it works. Progress triggers dopamine release, making you want to continue. 3. Use temptation bundling to stay motivated. Combine a necessary task with something pleasurable. Examples. Exercise while listening to your favorite podcast. Work on a project while drinking your favorite coffee. Only watch Netflix while on the treadmill. This makes difficult tasks feel more enjoyable, keeping motivation high. 4. Create identity-based motivation. Instead of relying on short-term willpower, change your self-identity. Instead of saying, I want to exercise, say, I am an athlete. Instead of saying, I need to write, say, I am a writer. Instead of saying, I should be productive, say, I am someone who takes action. Why it works. Your brain always seeks to act in alignment with your identity. When you believe you are the type of person who takes action, you no longer need external motivation. 5. The 20-second rule for beating procrastination. Make good habits easier and bad habits harder by changing your environment. How to apply it. Want to read more? Keep a book on your pillow. Want to exercise? Lay out workout clothes the night before. Want to stop watching TV? Remove the batteries from the remote. By making desired actions easier, you naturally feel more motivated to do them. How to overcome motivation slumps. 1. The 5-minute restart rule. If motivation drops, tell yourself, I'll just do 5 minutes. This small step breaks mental resistance and often leads to full engagement. 2. Change your environment. Motivation is often linked to your surroundings. If you feel stuck, work in a new location, cafe, library. Rearrange your workspace for a fresh start. Play motivational music to shift your energy. A new environment can reignite focus and motivation. 3. Find an accountability partner. You are more likely to stay motivated if someone is expecting you to follow through. Ways to use accountability. Tell a friend your goal and set check-in dates. Join a group or challenge, e.g., a workout group. Use apps that track progress and share it publicly. Knowing that someone else is watching keeps you on track. Real-life examples of motivation in action. 1. Elon Musk, the power of purpose. Elon Musk stays motivated because he is driven by a mission bigger than himself, advancing humanity. His strong why fuels relentless action. Lesson. Find a purpose that excites you, and motivation will follow. 2. The Wright brothers, the power of consistency. The Wright brothers didn't wait for motivation. They worked every single day, making tiny improvements until they finally built the first airplane. Lesson. Small daily actions create unstoppable momentum. 3. Serena Williams, the power of habit. Serena Williams doesn't rely on motivation to train. She follows a structured routine, ensuring that she takes action even on days when she doesn't feel like it. Lesson. Discipline beats motivation. Build habits, and motivation will take care of itself. Conclusion. Make motivation automatic. If you want to stay consistently driven, stop waiting for motivation. Instead, use small actions to trigger motivation. Find your Goldilocks challenge level. Track progress for instant dopamine rewards. Create an environment that fuels motivation. Shift your identity to, I am someone who takes action. Your challenge, right now, take one small action toward your goal. Don't wait for motivation, create it. Chapter 7. Mastering Time Management, Structuring Your Day for Success. Introduction. Why time management is the key to overcoming procrastination. You have the same 24 hours as the most successful people in the world. So why do some people accomplish massive goals while others feel stuck, overwhelmed, and constantly behind schedule? The answer is not working harder, it is working smarter. Procrastination thrives in an unstructured day. When you don't have a plan, distractions take over. But when you take control of your time, procrastination disappears. In this chapter, you will learn the myth of not having enough time and how to fix it, how to structure your day for maximum productivity, time blocking techniques that force you to take action, the 80-20 rule, how to get more done by doing less, how to eliminate time-wasting activities and reclaim your focus. By the end of this chapter, you will know exactly how to design your ideal day, stay on track, and finally make progress on what matters most. The myth of not having enough time. Many people say, I don't have enough time. But the truth is, you have time. You are just spending it on the wrong things. It's not about having more time. It's about managing it better. The truth about time management. If you spend 30 minutes a day mindlessly scrolling on your phone, that adds up to 182 hours a year. Enough time to write a book or learn a new skill. The average person watches over 20 hours of TV per week. Enough time to launch a business or get in the best shape of their life. Lesson. It's not about finding time. It's about making time by cutting out distractions and structuring your day wisely. The 80-20 rule. How to achieve more by doing less. What is the 80-20 rule? The Pareto principle, 80-20th rule, states that 80% of results come from 20% of your efforts. 20% of your tasks produce 80% of your success. How to apply it? Identify your high-impact tasks. Ask yourself, what 20% of tasks will create 80% of my results? Example. If you are a writer, writing is your 20%, not answering emails. Focus on high-value activities. Eliminate or delegate the rest. Cut out low-value tasks. Stop wasting time on busy work that doesn't move you forward. Example. Checking social media, unnecessary meetings, excessive email checking. Action step. Right now, list your top 3 high-impact tasks. Make these your daily priority. The power of time blocking. Structuring your day for success. What is time blocking? Time blocking is a simple but powerful technique used by some of the most productive people in the world, including Elon Musk, Bill Gates, and Cal Newport. Instead of working randomly, you schedule every hour of your day in advance. How to use time blocking. Plan your day the night before. Before going to bed, list your top 3 tasks for tomorrow. Assign specific time slots for each task. Use fixed time blocks for deep work. Example, 9 to 11 a.m., write chapter for book. Example, 2 to 3:30 p.m., research project. This ensures you always know what to work on and when. Batch similar tasks together. Instead of checking emails all day, set one time block for emails. Instead of making random phone calls, schedule a calling block. Why it works. By assigning specific times for tasks, you eliminate decision fatigue and procrastination. How to eliminate time-wasting activities. Step 1. Perform a time audit. Track how you spend every hour for the next 3 days. Identify where your time is being wasted, social media, unnecessary meetings, distractions. Find areas to cut, delegate, or optimize. Step 2. The eliminate, automate, delegate method. Once you identify time wasters, apply this rule. Eliminate tasks that do not add value. Example, say no to unnecessary meetings. Automate repetitive tasks. Example, set up auto-replies for emails. Delegate low-impact work. Example, hire a virtual assistant or use productivity tools. Step 3. Use the 2-minute rule. If a task takes less than 2 minutes, do it immediately instead of putting it on your to-do list. Example, responding to a quick email, filing an important document, making a quick phone call. This prevents small tasks from piling up and wasting mental energy. The power of a morning routine. Start your day with focus. Why mornings matter. The first 60 minutes of your day set the tone for everything that follows. If you start your morning with distractions, checking your phone, scrolling social media, your focus is already lost. How to build a high-performance morning routine. Wake up with a purpose. Avoid checking your phone first thing in the morning. Instead, start with a productive habit, journaling, reading, stretching. Plan your day. Before starting work, review your top 3 tasks. Mentally prepare yourself for deep focus. Work on your most important task first. Use the eat the frog method. Do your hardest task first when your brain is fresh. How to stay on track throughout the day. 1. Use focus sprints instead of marathon work sessions. Instead of trying to work all day, break work into 90-minute deep work sessions. Take short breaks between sessions to recharge. 2. Set hard stops to prevent overworking. If you work endlessly with no end time, your brain resists starting. Set a fixed work cutoff time, e.g., I will stop working at 6 p.m. This forces efficiency and prevents burnout. 3. The end-of-day review method. At the end of each day, ask yourself, what did I accomplish today? What could I improve? Write down one win and one lesson. This reinforces progress and keeps you accountable. Real-life examples of time management masters. 1. Elon Musk, scheduling every minute. Elon Musk time blocks every single hour of his day, including meetings, emails, and focused work. Lesson: by scheduling tasks in advance, you eliminate wasted time. 2. Warren Buffett, the power of saying no. Buffett attributes his success to fierce prioritization. He only focuses on a few key tasks and rejects everything else. Lesson: time management is about what you don't do as much as what you do. 3. Tim Ferriss, the 4-hour workweek approach. Ferriss optimizes his time by eliminating distractions, automating tasks, and delegating work. Lesson: if something doesn't add value, remove it from your schedule. Conclusion: take control of your time. Take control of your life. Time is your most valuable resource. When you learn to manage it effectively, you gain the power to achieve more while working less. Key takeaways. Procrastination thrives in an unstructured day. Plan your time in advance. Use the 80-20 rule. Focus on the 20% of tasks that bring 80% of results. Time blocking forces action. Schedule work in fixed time slots. Eliminate distractions, automate tasks, and delegate low-impact work. Your morning routine sets the tone for your entire day. Start strong. Your challenge, right now, Create a simple schedule for tomorrow. Block out time for your most important task and eliminate at least one time waster. Chapter 8. Beating Fear and Perfectionism. Embracing Imperfection. Introduction. The hidden fear behind procrastination. Have you ever delayed starting something important, not because you were lazy, but because you were afraid it wouldn't turn out perfectly? Perfectionism is one of the most common yet destructive causes of procrastination. It creates paralysis, making you delay tasks until the perfect time arrives, which, in reality, never comes. The truth is, fear of failure keeps you stuck. Waiting for perfect conditions leads to inaction. Success comes from taking imperfect action consistently. In this chapter, you will learn the psychological reasons behind fear and perfectionism, how to shift your mindset from perfection to progress, the fail fast, learn fast strategy to overcome fear of failure, real-life success stories of people who embraced imperfection and achieved greatness. By the end of this chapter, you will be able to break free from self-doubt, stop waiting for the perfect moment, and start taking immediate action. Why perfectionism leads to procrastination. The perfectionism-procrastination loop. Perfectionists often believe, I need to do this perfectly. If I can't do it perfectly, I shouldn't do it at all. I'll wait until I feel ready. Time passes, pressure builds, and I avoid the task. This cycle traps people in procrastination. The truth about perfectionism. Perfection is an illusion. No one ever creates something perfectly on the first try. The best way to succeed is to start before you feel ready. Perfectionism is just fear in disguise. It is fear of failure, fear of judgment, and fear of not being good enough. Lesson. Progress beats perfection. Small, imperfect action is better than endless planning with no results. How to overcome fear of failure. 1. Reframe failure as learning. Instead of thinking, if I fail, I'll look stupid, think, every mistake teaches me something valuable. What if this doesn't work? Think, what if this does work? Successful people see failure as feedback, not a final result. 2. Use the failure resume technique. Most people keep a list of their achievements, but what if you kept a failure resume instead? How it works. Write down your biggest failures and mistakes. Next to each, write what you learned from it. This shifts your mindset from failure is bad to failure helps me grow. Example. Failure. I launched a business and it failed. Lesson. I learned what customers actually want, so my next attempt will be stronger. 3. The worst-case scenario exercise. Many people procrastinate because they fear the worst possible outcome. But in reality, most worst-case scenarios are not as bad as we imagine. Try this. Ask yourself, what's the absolute worst thing that could happen if I fail? Then ask, what would I do to recover? Example. Fear. If I launch my podcast and no one listens, I'll be embarrassed. Reality. If no one listens, I'll improve my content and try again. When you realize that failure won't destroy you, it loses its power over you. The power of imperfect action. 1. The start ugly method. Most great work starts as a rough draft. The first iPhone had flaws. The first Tesla car had major problems. The first draft of any book is never perfect. Lesson. If you wait for perfection, you'll never start. Start ugly and improve as you go. 2. The fail fast, learn fast strategy. Silicon Valley entrepreneurs use a concept called fail fast, learn fast. The strategy. Instead of spending years planning, take immediate action. Test your idea quickly, gather feedback, and improve. The faster you fail, the faster you learn what works. Example. Instead of waiting to write the perfect book, write one bad page per day. Instead of perfecting a business idea, launch a small version first. Why it works. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of success. 3. The 80% rule. The 80% rule states that if something is 80% good, release it. Perfection is the enemy of progress. How to apply it. If you're writing, publish at 80% perfection, you can edit later. If you're launching a project, release it when it's good enough, then improve. Lesson. Done is better than perfect. Action beats overthinking. Real-life examples of people who overcame perfectionism. 1. Thomas Edison, failing 10,000 times. Edison failed over 10,000 times before inventing the light bulb. Lesson: he didn't see failure as a stop sign. He saw it as part of the process. 2. Sarah Blakely, the $1 billion failure. Sarah Blakely, the founder of Spanx, built a billion-dollar company because she embraced failure. Her secret: her father encouraged her to fail often and learn from mistakes. She never waited for perfect conditions. She took action immediately. Lesson: every mistake teaches you something. The only true failure is never trying. 3. Jeff Bezos, launching Amazon without perfection. Jeff Bezos launched Amazon with a simple website, no fancy design, and no advanced technology. Why? He knew waiting for perfection would slow him down. He focused on starting fast and improving later. Lesson: start before you feel ready. Success comes from iteration, not perfection. How to take action despite fear. 1. The 2-minute rule. If a task feels overwhelming, commit to just 2 minutes. Example: instead of write a book, commit to write for 2 minutes. Why it works. Once you start, momentum takes over. 2. Lower the stakes. Instead of saying, I must write a masterpiece, say, I'm just practicing. Instead of launching a perfect business, do a small test version first. When you lower the stakes, fear disappears. 3. Set a failure goal. Instead of tracking success, track how many times you take action. Example: set a goal to get 10 rejections. The more you fail, the closer you get to success. Why it works. It rewires your brain to see failure as a game, not something to fear. Conclusion: take imperfect action today. Success is not about being perfect. It is about taking action, learning, and improving. Key takeaways: perfectionism leads to procrastination. Progress beats perfection. Failure is feedback. The faster you fail, the faster you learn. Start before you feel ready. Great work begins with imperfection. Use small, daily actions to build momentum. Lower the stakes. See action as practice, not perfection. Your challenge: right now, take one small, imperfect action. Write a messy draft. Send that email. Make that call. Start today. Chapter 9. The Power of Habits, Creating Automatic Productivity. Introduction: why willpower alone is not enough. Do you ever wonder why some people seem to be naturally productive while others struggle with motivation and procrastination? The answer is not willpower. It is habits. Willpower is like a battery. It drains throughout the day. Habits, on the other hand, are automatic. When you build the right habits, productivity becomes effortless. In this chapter, you will learn how habits work at a neurological level, how to eliminate bad habits and replace them with good ones, the cue routine reward loop, how to rewire your brain for productivity, how to use habit stacking to make success automatic. By the end of this chapter, you will have the tools to make productive habits stick for life, without relying on motivation or willpower. The science of habits, how your brain automates behavior, how habits form in the brain. Your brain is constantly looking for ways to save energy. The easiest way to do this? Turn repetitive actions into habits. The habit loop, cue, routine, reward. All habits, good or bad, follow this 3-step loop. Cue, trigger, a signal that starts the habit. Example: feeling stressed triggers a craving for comfort. Routine, behavior, the action you take in response to the cue. Example: you grab your phone and scroll through social media. Reward, dopamine release, the benefit you get from the action. Example: you feel temporarily relaxed. Your brain reinforces this loop until the habit becomes automatic. How to build powerful productivity habits. 1. Identify your habit triggers. Every habit starts with a cue. To change habits, you must recognize your triggers. Ask yourself, what time of day do I usually procrastinate? What emotions trigger bad habits? What environment makes me productive or distracted? 2. Use habit stacking to make new habits stick. Habit stacking is a powerful method where you attach a new habit to an existing one. Formula: after I current habit, I will new habit. Examples: after I brush my teeth, I will read for 5 minutes. After I pour my morning coffee, I will write for 10 minutes. After I finish my work session, I will do a 2-minute stretch. By attaching new habits to old ones, your brain links them together, making them easier to remember. 3. Make your habits too easy to fail. The biggest mistake people make? Starting too big. Instead of, I will write 1,000 words a day, start with, I will write 1 sentence. Instead of, I will meditate for 30 minutes, start with, I will take 1 deep breath. Why it works? Once you start, momentum takes over. 4. Design your environment for success. Your environment shapes your habits. If you struggle with procrastination, change your surroundings. Examples. Want to read more? Leave books on your desk. Want to stop scrolling on your phone? Put it in another room while working. Want to exercise more? Keep workout clothes visible. Your brain follows the path of least resistance. Make good habits easy and bad habits hard. Breaking bad habits. The inversion strategy. If you want to eliminate a bad habit, invert the habit loop. Q. Make the trigger invisible. Example. Delete social media apps to remove the temptation. Routine. Make the habit difficult. Example. Use website blockers to prevent distractions. Reward. Remove the pleasure. Example. Track wasted time to become aware of how much it costs you. Lesson. The easiest way to break a bad habit is to make it harder to do. How to stay consistent with new habits. 1. Use the don't break the chain method. Each day you complete your habit, mark an X on a calendar. The goal? Keep the streak going. If you miss a day, never miss twice. 2. The 2-day rule. If you miss a habit once, it's fine, but never miss 2 days in a row. This prevents falling into old patterns. 3. The identity shift trick. Instead of saying, I'm trying to build a habit, say, I am the type of person who does this. Example. Instead of, I'm trying to run, say, I am a runner. Instead of, I'm trying to write, say, I am a writer. Your identity shapes your actions. Act like the person you want to become. Real-life examples of habit mastery. 1. Stephen King, writing every day. Stephen King writes every single day, no matter what, even on holidays. Lesson. Great work comes from consistent daily habits, not bursts of motivation. 2. Olympic athletes, training on autopilot. Top athletes don't rely on motivation. They rely on routine. Lesson. Success comes from automating excellence through habit building. 3. James Clear, The Atomic Habits Method. James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, transformed his life by making small 1% improvements every day. Lesson. Tiny daily habits compound into massive results over time. Conclusion. Build habits, build success. You don't need more motivation. You need better habits. Key takeaways. Habits are the key to automatic productivity. Use habit stacking to make new habits stick. Start with 2 easy-to-fail actions. Make good habits easy and bad habits hard. Track your habits to stay consistent. Shift your identity. You are the type of person who takes action. Your challenge. Right now, pick 1 habit to build. Start small. Track your progress. Never miss twice. Chapter 10. The Psychology of Urgency. Creating a sense of immediate action. Introduction. Why we delay and how to overcome it. Do you ever tell yourself, I'll do it later, only to realize that later never comes? Most people struggle with procrastination not because they lack time, but because they lack urgency. When there's no immediate pressure, it's easy to delay tasks indefinitely. But when a deadline approaches, suddenly, you find the energy to complete the task. The secret to overcoming procrastination isn't just discipline. It's creating urgency on demand. In this chapter, you will learn why the brain prioritizes urgent tasks over important ones, how to trick your brain into taking action immediately, proven techniques to create artificial urgency and eliminate delay, how successful people train themselves to act quickly without waiting for pressure. By the end of this chapter, you will have a step-by-step system to turn procrastination into immediate execution. Why the brain resists taking action. The comfort of later. Your brain loves delaying hard tasks because it wants to. Avoid discomfort. Save energy. Seek immediate rewards. Watching Netflix feels better than working on a report. This is why you often feel like starting tomorrow will be easier, but tomorrow never comes. The Parkinson's Law. Why work expands to fill time. Have you noticed that when a deadline is far away, you procrastinate, but when it's right in front of you, you work at lightning speed? This is known as Parkinson's law. Work expands to fill the time available for its completion. If you have 1 week to write an article, it will take 1 week. If you have 1 hour, you will finish it in 1 hour. Lesson: the less time you give yourself, the faster you take action. How to trick your brain into taking immediate action. 1. Set artificial deadlines. If a task has no deadline, your brain assumes it's not urgent, so it gets delayed. How to apply it? Instead of saying, "I'll finish this project someday," say, "I must finish it by 5 p.m. today." Set a countdown timer on your phone for small tasks, e.g., "I have 30 minutes to finish this report." If a project is due in 1 week, set a personal deadline in 2 days. Why it works. The brain sees deadlines as urgent signals and pushes you to act. 2. Use the 5-second rule. Mel Robbins. When you feel the urge to procrastinate, count backward from 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. This technique interrupts hesitation and forces your brain to take immediate action. Example: if you need to write an email, count 5-4-3-2-1 and start typing. If you need to get out of bed, count 5-4-3-2-1 and stand up. Why it works. It bypasses overthinking and pushes you into instant action. 3. The now or never strategy. People procrastinate because they believe they have unlimited chances to do something. But when you tell yourself, "I will never have this exact moment again," your brain senses urgency. Try this. Instead of saying, "I'll work out tomorrow," say, "This is my only chance to work out today." Instead of putting off a task, say, "If I don't start now, I may never do it." Why it works. The brain takes action when it feels a limited opportunity. 4. Create an action-first environment. If a task requires too much effort to start, your brain resists. How to apply it. Want to write? Keep an open document on your screen. Want to work out? Lay out workout clothes the night before. Want to eat healthier? Remove junk food and keep healthy snacks visible. Why it works. Your environment should make starting as easy as possible. How to create an urgency mindset. 1. Use the 1-minute start trick. If a task feels overwhelming, commit to just 1 minute. Tell yourself, "I only need to do this for 1 minute." Once you start, momentum takes over and you keep going. Example: if you don't feel like cleaning, start for 1 minute. If you don't feel like writing, type 1 sentence. Why it works. The brain overcomes hesitation once action begins. 2. The 10-minute timer challenge. Set a 10-minute timer and challenge yourself to work non-stop until it ends. You can stop after 10 minutes, but most of the time, you keep going. Why it works. The countdown triggers urgency, making it easier to start. 3. The public commitment strategy. Tell someone you will complete a task by a specific time. Ask them to check in and hold you accountable. Example: tell a friend, "I will finish my assignment by 3 p.m. Text me to check." Post your goal on social media. "I'm writing 500 words today. Hold me accountable." Why it works. Social pressure makes your brain take commitments seriously. How high performers use urgency to succeed. 1. Jeff Bezos, speed over perfection. Jeff Bezos runs Amazon using the 70% rule. He never waits for perfect conditions. He takes action when he has 70% of the information. Lesson: perfection kills speed. Start now, improve later. 2. Elon Musk, setting insane deadlines. Musk sets crazy deadlines for his teams, e.g., building rockets in months, not years. Lesson: tight deadlines create urgency and force action. 3. Kobe Bryant, the power of immediate practice. After every game, Kobe practiced immediately, even if he played poorly. Lesson: waiting weakens urgency. Action must be immediate. Conclusion: create urgency, take control. The biggest reason for procrastination is lack of urgency. When you train your brain to act immediately, you become unstoppable. Key takeaways: work expands to fill time. Set tight deadlines. Use the 5-second rule. Count down and take action. Trick your brain with artificial urgency. Set personal deadlines. Make starting easy. Remove obstacles to action. Use public accountability. Tell others your deadline. Your challenge. Right now, pick one task you've been delaying. Set a fake deadline and use the 5-second rule to start it now. Chapter 11. Overcoming setbacks. How to stay on track. Introduction. Why setbacks are inevitable and how to bounce back. No matter how motivated or disciplined you are, setbacks are unavoidable. You will have days when you procrastinate, you miss a deadline, you feel unmotivated, you fall back into old habits. The difference between successful people and those who give up is not the absence of failure, but their ability to recover quickly. In this chapter, you will learn why setbacks don't mean failure and how to reframe them. The what's the next action? Framework to bounce back fast. How to prevent a bad day from turning into a bad week. Real-life examples of people who overcame massive failures and succeeded. By the end of this chapter, you will have the tools to stay on track, even when you fall off. Why failure feels like a stopping point. Many people believe that one mistake ruins everything. This mindset leads to all or nothing thinking. I missed a workout, so my fitness plan is ruined. Emotional guilt. I procrastinated, so I'm not disciplined enough. Giving up completely. Since I already messed up, I might as well quit. But successful people do not think this way. Instead, they say, one setback means nothing. What's my next action? The what's the next action? Framework. When you experience a setback, your brain wants to focus on the mistake. Instead, train yourself to ask, what is the next action I can take to get back on track? This immediately shifts your focus from failure to progress. Example 1. If you miss a deadline, I failed. I'm behind, and there's no point in trying. What's the next action? I will schedule an hour tomorrow to catch up. Example 2. If you skip a workout, I missed today, so my fitness goal is ruined. What's the next action? I will do a quick 10-minute workout now. Example 3. If you procrastinate for a whole day, I wasted today, so this week is ruined. What's the next action? I will work for 15 minutes right now. Why it works? Your brain can't focus on failure and action at the same time. It must choose one. By focusing on the next action, you keep moving forward. The never miss twice rule. Setbacks only become a real problem when they turn into patterns. One missed day is fine. 2 missed days create a habit. The never miss twice rule ensures that if you miss one day, you immediately take action the next day. You don't let small failures turn into a complete relapse. Example. Missed writing yesterday? Write for 5 minutes today. Skipped your morning routine? Do part of it right now. Why it works? The longer you stay off track, the harder it is to restart. How to mentally recover from failure. 1. Reframe failure as data, not judgment. Instead of, I failed, so I'm not disciplined, say, this is feedback. What can I learn? The failure analysis exercise. Write down why you think you failed. Identify one small change you can make next time. Commit to taking action immediately. 2. Use the past me versus future me technique. Your brain likes to live in regret after a mistake. Instead of looking backward, look forward. Past me procrastinated, but that's not who I am now. Future me takes action, so I will do one small thing right now. Why it works? It shifts your identity from someone who failed to someone who is making a comeback. Preventing setbacks before they happen. Instead of waiting until you fail, build systems that prevent failure in the first place. 1. Use an accountability trigger. Set a reminder that pops up before your usual procrastination time. Example. At 6 p.m., I will review my to-do list before watching TV. This prevents unconscious slipping into bad habits. 2. Automate your habits. If you struggle with focus, use website blockers. If you forget to exercise, set an alarm. If you want to read more, place a book on your pillow. Why it works? When good habits are automatic, setbacks become less frequent. Real-life examples of comebacks from failure. 1. J.K. Rowling rejected 12 times before success. Before publishing Harry Potter, J.K. Rowling was rejected by 12 publishers. If she had given up, the world would never have read her books. Lesson. Failure is only final if you quit. Keep going. 2. Steve Jobs fired from Apple, then built a legacy. Jobs was fired from the company he created. Instead of seeing it as failure, he used it as an opportunity to innovate, return stronger, and rebuild Apple into a global empire. Lesson: setbacks can make you better if you learn from them. 3. Michael Jordan, cut from his high school team. Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. Instead of quitting, he used it as motivation to train harder, eventually becoming one of the greatest athletes of all time. Lesson: failure is a test. Pass it by coming back stronger. How to make a strong comeback after a setback. Don't let guilt control you. Everyone fails. Move on. Ask, what's the next action? Focus on your next step. Apply the never miss twice rule. 1 missed day is fine. 2 is not. Reframe failure as feedback. Learn from mistakes instead of feeling bad. Look forward, not backward. Future you is taking action now. Conclusion: setbacks are a detour, not a dead end. Every successful person you admire has failed many times. The difference? They didn't let setbacks stop them. They used them as fuel for a comeback. Key takeaways: failure doesn't define you. Your response does. Always ask, what's the next action? Instead of dwelling on mistakes. Use the never miss twice rule to prevent small failures from becoming big ones. Reframe setbacks as feedback, not judgment. The past is gone. Take action as future you. Your challenge: right now, think of a setback you've had recently. Instead of feeling bad about it, write down one action you can take today to get back on track. Chapter 12. Designing your anti-procrastination lifestyle. Introduction: how your environment shapes your behavior. You don't rise to the level of your motivation. You fall to the level of your systems. Many people think procrastination is a personal flaw, but the truth is, your lifestyle either makes procrastination easy or impossible. By designing your environment, routines, and habits for action, you can make productivity effortless and eliminate procrastination before it even starts. In this chapter, you will learn how to create an environment that prevents procrastination, how to build a daily system that makes taking action automatic, how to set up accountability loops so you never fall off track, the 4 key areas of life that impact your ability to stay productive. By the end of this chapter, you will know how to build a lifestyle that supports consistent action, discipline, and long-term success. Why your environment controls your actions. Most people blame lack of motivation for procrastination, but research shows that environment is a much bigger factor. The procrastination cycle: how your environment shapes you. Your environment triggers habits. If your phone is next to you, you check it. If junk food is in your kitchen, you eat it. Your habits shape your identity. If you procrastinate often, you start seeing yourself as a procrastinator. Your identity influences your future actions. If you believe you are lazy, you continue avoiding tasks. Lesson: to change your behavior, change your environment first. How to design an environment that eliminates procrastination. 1. Make good habits easy, bad habits hard. Your brain follows the path of least resistance. The easier something is, the more likely you are to do it. How to apply it. Want to read more? Keep a book on your pillow. Want to stop checking your phone? Put it in another room while working. Want to exercise more? Set out workout clothes the night before. Why it works. You don't need motivation if the right choice is the easiest option. 2. Control your digital environment. Most procrastination happens because technology makes distractions effortless. How to apply it. Use website blockers, e.g., Freedom, Cold Turkey, to block social media during work hours. Disable notifications so your phone doesn't constantly interrupt you. Use grayscale mode on your phone to make apps less tempting. Keep your phone in a different room when doing deep work. Why it works. If distractions are out of sight, they are out of mind. 3. Create a focus zone. If your workspace is filled with distractions, it becomes impossible to focus. How to apply it. Declutter your desk. Remove everything that isn't related to your task. Use noise-canceling headphones or white noise to block out distractions. Have a dedicated workspace, not your bed or couch. Work in distraction-free locations, library, co-working space, cafe. Why it works. A focused space creates a focused mind. The anti-procrastination daily system. 1. Start your day with action, not distractions. The first 60 minutes of your day determine your focus for the rest of it. How to apply it? Avoid checking your phone first thing in the morning. Start with a quick win, small task, journaling, stretching. Decide your top 3 priorities for the day. Why it works? How you start your day shapes your momentum. 2. Use the first 10 minutes rule. If you feel resistance to starting a task, commit to just 10 minutes. Tell yourself, I only need to do this for 10 minutes. Once you start, momentum takes over and you usually continue. Why it works? Starting is the hardest part. This trick eliminates the mental barrier. 3. The power of a shutdown routine. Most people let unfinished work pile up, leading to stress and avoidance. How to apply it? At the end of each day, review your work and prepare for tomorrow. Close all tabs, write down unfinished tasks, and set priorities. Create a mental break between work and relaxation. Why it works? A structured shutdown prevents work from bleeding into your personal time and refreshes your brain for the next day. Accountability loops. How to stay on track. 1. Use public commitment for motivation. If you struggle with self-discipline, make your commitments public. How to apply it? Tell a friend your goal and ask them to check in. Join an accountability group for support and motivation. Post your progress on social media to create external pressure. Why it works? When others are watching, you feel more obligated to follow through. 2. The accountability partner method. Pair up with someone who also wants to stay productive. How to apply it? Set a weekly check-in call or message. Share your goals at the start of the week. Review progress together and adjust plans. Why it works? When you know someone is expecting results from you, procrastination disappears. The 4 key areas that affect your productivity. 1. Sleep, the foundation of focus. Lack of sleep reduces decision-making, concentration, and willpower. How to improve it? Aim for 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep. Avoid screens 30 minutes before bed. Maintain a consistent bedtime, even on weekends. Why it works? A well-rested brain fights procrastination effortlessly. 2. Nutrition, fuel for your brain. Your diet impacts energy levels, focus, and mental clarity. How to improve it? Eat high-protein breakfasts to avoid energy crashes. Drink water regularly to stay alert. Avoid excessive sugar and processed foods. Why it works? The right fuel keeps your brain sharp and productive. 3. Exercise boosts energy and focus. Regular exercise improves mood, focus, and mental stamina. How to apply it? Move for at least 10 minutes in the morning. Take walking breaks during work sessions. Do short workouts, even 5 minutes is better than nothing. Why it works? Physical movement stimulates mental clarity. 4. Stress management, avoid burnout. Stress leads to mental exhaustion, which fuels procrastination. How to apply it? Use deep breathing or meditation to reduce stress. Take small breaks to avoid burnout. Get outside. Nature helps refresh the brain. Why it works? A calm mind is a productive mind. Conclusion. Build a life that prevents procrastination. Productivity isn't just about working harder. It's about creating a lifestyle that supports action. Key takeaways. Your environment shapes your actions. Design it for productivity. Make good habits easy and bad habits hard. Use daily routines to make action automatic. Leverage accountability to stay on track. Prioritize sleep, nutrition, movement, and stress management. Your challenge. Right now, change one thing in your environment to eliminate procrastination. Rearrange your workspace, set a deadline, or block distractions. Final thoughts. You are in control. Procrastination is not a fixed trait. It is a habit that can be changed. You now have the knowledge, strategies, and tools to take control of your time, build momentum, and create a life of consistent action. The only thing left to do? Start now. Final words. Your next action. This book is meaningless unless you apply it. So, before you close this page, ask yourself, what is one action I can take right now? Whatever it is, do it now. Because the best way to stop procrastinating is to start right now.